What's going on, guys? It's Coach Rambeer. It is Training Tuesdays. Today's topic is based off a question that I've been getting frequently, and I think most people have dealt with this issue at some point or another, simply because one of the major causes for this is our lifestyle. And what I'm talking about is shoulder pain, shoulder injuries, okay? Some of the stuff that contributes to shoulder pain, shoulder injuries is, where we live our lives right here. So we're typing here, we're driving here. If you have some type of other work, it involves you being here, right? Everything is done out here. And we don't spend any time strengthening all of this stuff in the back. So that's one thing. And then overall, we're just physically not as strong as we should be, okay? To compound that, those of us who do work out, we don't pay much attention to anything back here. We do push-ups, that's in front. We do bench press. Some of us might do overhead press, even though, that's also a neglected lift. We do curls, we do tricep stuff, and then we do dips. All of these different things, we are further pushing the balance towards this versus this, right? And then another thing is that, okay, you're doing this stuff, that's fine. These are all great exercises and lifts, but you're doing it with bad form. So when you do push-ups, you're letting your shoulders shrug and roll forward. When you're doing dips, your shoulders are way out here. You're doing tricep extensions and you're doing them like this. So being in the right position is very, very important. And a general rule of thumb for virtually anything to do with your upper body is you never want your shoulders to shrug up and you don't want them to roll forward. Everything should be done here. So shoulders away from the ears, and usually down and back, right? That will prevent most of the stuff that happens with people who train and then they increase their, or push their aches and pains further, right? And they get worse. So how do you start to counteract this and start to fix these things? First and foremost, what I would suggest is just start being active. If you're not active and you got shoulder pain, let's start doing some type of activity. The simplest thing that I recommend always is doing the 5-minute flow. So when you wake up in the morning, and now this is the bare minimum, literally 5 minutes, maybe even less if that's a difficult habit for you to build. Start with 30 seconds, okay? And it's so simple. You wake up in the morning, you're going to drink a glass or two of water, and then you're going to make circles with all your joints. And then if in the case of shoulder pain, what we're going to focus on is neck stuff. You're going to focus on this part of your spine. So imagining every single vertebrae moving. It also goes side to side, okay? And then obviously your shoulder blades, right? Elbows, wrists, and arms, right? Do that as much as possible. If you remember at your desk, get some movement here, right? Move your neck, get blood flow. That's step one. Step two would be make sure when you do stuff for your upper body, your form is on point. The third thing I would do is start to focus on developing all of these guys back here. So I'm actually going to show you three things that you can do that will help make that happen. None of these things require you to have tons and tons of weight. It's simply beginning to even use these things in the back that will make the difference. The muscles in the back are very neglected, but these are considered the muscles of youth, okay? So if you want to stay young, you need to develop the muscles on the back side of your body, right? And people say, oh, I need to fix my posture and this and that. Well, posture is a result of it's a reflection of your habits and how strong you are. It's not something that, oh, hey, you need to have better posture. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this. No, the posture improves automatically as you get stronger. So we're going to show you some exercises that will help that in particular. In the grand scheme of things, a general recommendation that we give, that a lot of really good strength and conditioning coaches give, is make sure you do twice as much pulling work as you do pushing. So that means if I do 50 reps of push-ups in my workout, I want to do 100 reps of some type of pulling. Now I'm going to show you a couple of those, but this can be chin-ups, pull-ups, barbell rows, dumbbell rows, hammer rows. There's a million cable rows. Anything where you're pulling something will make a difference. Just don't forget, when you do that, don't let your shoulders roll up or roll forward and shrug up. All right. So let's get into some of these exercises that you should throw in on a regular basis that will begin to improve strength. And before we move on to that, the last thing I want to say is, it's one of my new favorite quotes, and it kind of just like put everything into place for me, is health can never be divorced from strength. And that's from George Hackenschmidt, strongman, really smart guy, considered one of the first pro wrestlers, early 1900s. And basically, so many problems can be eliminated and fixed by simply getting stronger. The trick is getting strong in the right way. What does that mean? That means using good form and technique, learning from somebody who knows what they're doing, or at the very least attempting, if you're going to do it on your own, that's cool. There's a lot of great information out there. Just, pick sources that you feel like you can trust and they know what they're talking about. So some good resources, online you can find Eric Cressy, Tony Gentlecore, Jordan Syed. There's just like Dan John, Dr. John Rusin. There's just so many. But I would go with those guys. Those are really, really smart guys. And the big thing is, like, you need to get strong. Like, health is dependent upon your physical strength. And we are just, as a whole, we are just not strong enough. And if you want to avoid some of these little things that apparently everybody deals with, focus your attention on getting a little bit stronger. Let's check out these exercises. First one is the face pull. Okay, this works to all of these guys, and the form is going to look like this. We're going to use these guys. When we pull, we're going to finish just like this, as if you were doing a double bicep flex. Okay, so you don't want to pull with your elbows. You don't want to pull down here. You want to pull with your hand, lead with your hands, so that your fists end up by your ear, and then elbow, shoulder, and fist are all in a straight line. So very simple, it'll look like this. This one is called band pull apart. You can grab a band, you're going to grab it like this, you're simply going to pull it apart. It's really hard to mess this one up. You're just pulling this band apart. Okay. One thing to be aware of is you don't want to start to end up like this and pull it apart like this. Try to keep this straight line, squeeze your glutes, rib cage down, and then pull apart. And while you're doing this, you, again, as with all shoulder things, you shouldn't be shrugging and rolling forward and doing this. This is no good. You want to make sure that your shoulders are away from your ears and they don't round forward. So I'll be here, pulling it apart. Okay. With both of these exercises, you always want to have control, and these muscles here will be good to hit in a higher rep range, anywhere from 12 to 20 reps, and maybe 3-4 sets. And you can do this a couple times a week. You're not trying to like load up and go super heavy on this stuff, right? One of the other benefits of this is we're just getting blood flow back here. Blood flow is extremely important. That's a topic for a whole different day. But both of these exercises, 12 to 20 reps, 3 to 4 sets. You can do this literally every day. In fact, we have a lot of people do these in between exercises and sets. And so don't be afraid to throw more of these in. You'll be surprised at how quickly your shoulders will feel better. The last thing I will say is, if there's pain, so never do something, continue to do something where there is pain. Because pain is the signal to from your body that's saying, hey, this is not cool, let's stop this, let's change this, let's adjust this. So be mindful, be aware, and listen to your body, all right?